Hello guys, nice to meet you too again. My name is Brian Kistanto Ontario, and today I'm gonna to explain about the hydrology and hydrology cycle. Let's check it out. What is a hydrology? Hydrology is an extremely important discipline dealing with one of the Earth's most precious resources, that is water. All aspects of the Earth's available water are studied by experts from a wide range of fields, from geologists to engineers, to gather the information needed to manage this vital resource. The word hydrology itself means hydro, that means water, and then from the logi, that means the science or the study. The history of hydrology. In Egypt, the flooding of the Nile formed the basis of an efficient large-scale agricultural system. The history of irrigation can be traced back as up to 5,000 years, as evidenced by the remains of the world's oldest dam built between 2950 and 2750 BC, found near at Cairo. For the modern hydrology, science can be thought of as starting with measurements of precipitation, evaporation, river flow by surface speed method, and the others. From this measurement dating back to the 17th century, scientists were able to draw accurate conclusions about the observed hydrological phenomena. However, we cannot say that the birth of hydrology dates back to the 17th century, because the concept of the hydrological cycle has been stated by many philosophers since time immemorial. Condition hydrology in Salatiga. The hydrological condition of an area can be seen from the water source in the area. The city of Salatiga has several water resources in the form of lakes, rivers, and the swamps. The city of Salatiga is crossed by a river that have a large enough intensity, namely the Sraten River and the Ngaglik River. Salatiga itself has 6 springs scattered in each sub-district. Meanwhile, the rainfall in Salatiga itself depends on the condition of season. During the rainy season, it can be said to be high, while on the contrary, during the dry season, it can be said to be low. And then the next is a hydrology cycle. The water cycle, or usually called the hydrological cycle, is the never-ending circulation of water from the atmosphere to the earth and back to the atmosphere through condensation, precipitation, evaporation, and transpiration. The heating of seawater by sunlight is the main factor in the hydrological cycle process that can continue to run continuously. Then next, this is the picture of the water cycle or hydrology cycle. We know from this picture that the cycle begins with the ocean and the water evaporating from the ocean. From the evaporation will create clouds, whose cycle will be called condensation. And then the next cycle is an advection. What is an advection? Advection is the process of moving clouds from one point to another due to the wind currents or difference in air pressure. After that, the clouds will melt due to the influence or high temperatures and cause rain. This cycle is called precipitation. And then after the precipitation, there is a runoff. A runoff is the movement of water from a high place to a low place. After the runoff, it will infiltration. Infiltration is the event of water entering the soil. Then the cycle will repeat continuously. Types of the hydrological cycle. The water cycle can be divided into 3 types based on the length and duration of the process of moving water molecules. The first is a short cycle. What is a short cycle? The short cycle is a sea water that evaporates through the condensation process and then turns into clouds, and then rain occurs so that it returns to the sea. And then the second is a medium cycle. The cycle is happening when the seawater evaporates and is carried by the wind to land. Through the process of condensation, it turns into clouds and then becomes rain on the land. Furthermore, it seeps into the ground and some will be carried away by water flows such as rivers and ditches, and then it will return to the sea again. And then the last is a long cycle. The long cycle begins with the evaporation and condensation of seawater. The clouds that are formed are carried by the wind to the higher ground in areas of land. And then it rains in the areas of snow or ice in high mountains. The ice in the mountains will go to a lower place due to the force of gravity. And the ice will melt and flow back into the sea again. Factors that affected the hydrological cycle. The first is a climate, and then geology, condition, vegetation, irrigation, mining, dam building and reservoirs, deforestation, and the last is agriculture. Hydrology cycle in Salatiga. In the near area where I live, there is a swamp called Rawa Pening. The hydrological cycle at the Rawa Pening is a short one. A short cycle can begin with the evaporation of seas, rivers, swamps, or waters from any other surface on the earth. Rawa Pening's water evaporates due to the heat of the sun. This is called the evaporation cycle. The evaporation will produce a water vapor, and then the water vapor will become the clouds, and this is called the condensation. And then the clouds form, which will form droplets that will fall on the Rawa Pening as a rain, and this is called the precipitation cycle. And then the cycle will always continue. Conclusion. From this PPT, we can know that the hydrology is a discipline that studies water resources. The hydrology cycle is the process of water coming from the atmosphere to the earth and returning to the atmosphere. And then, this is the reference I used to making this PPT. Yeah guys, that is my presentation today. I hope you can enjoy this presentation as much as I do, and I hope you can know about the hydrology and the hydrology cycle, what I explained it. And I'm so sorry if I still have a mispronounce, and I'm so thankful for you guys for your attention from start until the finish. And yeah, I think that's all for me, and see you in the next video guys. Bye bye.